Today, history isn't just being made, it's being written in the streets. You're looking at what experts are calling the largest single day of political demonstration in American history. It's called No Kings, and as of right now, over 9 million people across 3,300 cities have walked out to send one message. The presidency is an office, not a throne. While the crowds in New York City have brought Manhattan to a standstill, the emotional heart of this movement is in St. Paul, Minnesota. The massive turnout there is fueled by the tragic deaths of Renee Good and Alex Priddy, two residents killed during the federal immigration crackdown known as Operation Metro Surge. Their names have become the rallying cry for a movement that has now spread far beyond the big cities. In a massive shift, nearly 70% of today's protests are happening in rural towns and red states. From Idaho to Kentucky, people are crossing party lines to push back against the month-old war in Iran and the ongoing government shutdown. It's even gone global, with massive solidarity marches hitting the streets in Paris, London, and Berlin. March 28th, 2026, the day the No Kings movement went from a ripple to a tidal wave. The world is watching.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory.
From Idaho crackdown, known as New York City, have brought Manhattan.
Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Dawah from them in the Valley Camp here in Greenville, South Carolina, coming back with another video in sincerity and in truth, and Lord willing, it can be edifying. All right, and as you can see, all right, there was major protests across America, if not the world, yesterday. All right, and this is biblical prophecy literally jumping off the pages, you know, and playing out in real life. All right, this is 2nd Esdras, the 9th chapter right here. All right, this is multiple things because they're protesting Trump. All right, and by them protesting Trump, you know, you got these No Kings protests. The Lord said he was going to put a cruel Lord and a fierce king over them. All right, so the Lord is fulfilling prophecy in these days, man. You know, and we're just going to let the scripture speak. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 9 and verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like it is all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Okay, so the Lord is speaking. The Lord is visiting the world which he made, and he's doing it by way of these signs. And he told us of the signs before he brought it forward. All right. And these No Kings protests have begun to grow larger and larger. They're starting to stand up against the, you know, technocracy, the technocrats. All right. And we're seeing that this whole political system was being diluted down for years so that, you know, Trump could run in this manner. Or whoever they set up as the puppet could run and overstep Congress, because when America was first founded, it was founded upon different, much different foundations, where you had the checks and balances, where you had the, you know, you had to go through Congress in order to go to war. All right, now Trump is able to bypass all of that, ordering strikes. He is in command of, they call him commander in chief. He is in command of the armed services. Okay, and he's in command of ICE. So he has 2 military arms. And he has Palantir, you know, that's aiding in all of this. They're building these data centers. So people are starting to see it. All right, just a couple years ago, or a year or two ago, you know, they wanted to get Joe Biden out of there. And Joe Biden was a damn dunce. You know, what was it? Let's go, Brandon. You know, and all the Republicans all the conservative Edomites wanted to get his ass out of there. But then they got Trump ass in there, and now everybody's like, wait a fucking minute. You know, you fucking up our money too. It was okay when it was just the niggas. All right, but you fucking up our pockets too. All right, and that's the difference now. Now you're seeing these MAGA Edomites. You still got some that's in denial, but you have these MAGA Edomites that are very much in the spirit of, all right, this guy he doesn't have the Americans' best interest at heart. And in this play, it's been plain to see, man. Surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. All right, the Lord has already been showing us that this devil was controlled by the state of Israel, man, and by BB and them. And, and that's if BB ass ain't dead, but it don't matter. All right, the ones that's running the show, you're not seeing them on TV, man. You're not seeing them speak, but they're the ones pulling the strings. And they're the ones having direct counsels with Satan. All right, and the Lord and Satan is getting direct counsel from the Lord as to how he wants this played out. All right, and ultimately they're about to make this major step forward. And micro see hip and everybody, man. This war isn't going to go on for years. All right, there's going to be they're about to systematically crash this economy. It's going to be detrimental, and then they're going to come in with that solution to bring back that sense of normalcy. And people are going to flock to it. Like Apostle Dohar was saying, that crown, that C-19 was a test. That was the test run. All right, now they're coming back with it. All right, so we see the earthquakes, in which, there's so many earthquakes that happen a day. You don't really keep up with it as much, but those were major signs. All right, it says in the uproars of the people in the world, we're seeing that. All right, whether it's, the uprisings against the government, you got all these protests. I remember when I first came into the truth, you had some major protests in Hong Kong, So these have been going on for years now. But now these No Kings protests are major, You got millions of people. And of course, CNN, Fox News, they're not going to report it. But these are millions of people taken to the streets. So, hey, the end is being made manifest. Esau, your ass is done, dude. All right, you're out of here. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. We already see your women want us. The women of the world see who next, man. Esau, you losing your grip on reality. And he's trying to retain that grip. And he's willing to take out as many of us as he possibly can, all right, to retain his authority on the earth. He's willing to send your sons and your daughters out to die to retain his damn authority, man. He's not satisfied with blood. That's the nature of this devil. All right, but the Lord is going to take his ass down. We don't have to do anything, man. The Lord is going to lift up that standard. All right, when our backs are against the wall, man, and our faith is at the ultimate test, all right, the Lord is going to be with us. Well, you got to have faith in that, man. So I just wanted to, cover this, man, those major protests. Because that's biblical prophecy. And even Yahushua said, people was going to rise up against each other, man. 2 Esdras 15 said they shall not regard their kings nor princes. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power, man. They're going to rise up with swords in their hands, modern day guns. They're going to go against the government. That's what's coming. That's what we see. All right, so Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem. Yahweh Shah Bahashem Rakakwadash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Till next time, Shalom.